Evening, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Comic Crack, and I'm here to kind of chat. I was hoping to sit down tonight and watch Damien and Rasa. I was hoping they had a chance to get a chat in today, so I was looking forward to kind of relaxing in the basement and watching that. But unfortunately, they apparently didn't make it. Rasa's not feeling so well, maybe lost her voice. So hopefully next weekend, the three of us will be able to make some time to get together on Sunday to talk. I thought I'd just kind of check in, have some stuff that I read. Did a little bit of indie bin diving at Cover to Cover. Sold some books online, so I sold a bunch of books on Cthulhu Luke. Good to see you as well. Tylox, how you doing? Sold some books online on the Facebook Winnipeg Comic Addicts group. Dropped in at 204 Comics as well too. I did a delivery of some of the books to that end of town, and dropped in at 204 to pick up some stuff, and just kind of talk about that. I read a bunch of stuff actually. Excuse me, what's going on here? Stray hairs. So a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Scott Connor, how you doing? Robin Bougie, Canadian smut peddler of Cinema Sewer fame, ended his 20 years. Was it 20 years on Cinema Sewer, which was exploitation films, pornos, sickest and sexiest movies. So he ended the run. These are collections. I've got the single issues all the way from issue number 9 all the way to the end. And he's done a bunch of other stuff, Sleazy Slice, and a whole bunch of other kind of comics and jam comics with other people. I think there's 4 volumes of this Cinema Sewer softcover collection with some extra material. Mostly write-ups with maybe some posters. He used to have guest writers as well too. There's some comic strips and things that are thrown in as well by him. And so he ended this run a few years ago. Then there's volume 3, and then announced that he was doing another zine. And the first issue is complete, and it came in the mail just the other day. He's got this new one. It's called Gutter Hunter, an adult's only guide to history's wildest independent comics. And it's square bound. It's enormous. It is chock full of articles and samples of art, interviews with some comics creators. I'm reading this very, very slowly. It's fucking incredible so far. It's really, really entertaining. All sorts of stuff. Again, focused on kind of the weird and the bizarre of the dollar bins. But he's managed to get a couple of interviews with people as well too. And one of them that I was reading, I don't have any of the books myself. Let me just see here. The creator of White Whore Funnies, there was 2 issues, an underground comic by a black man, and a couple of other. I think there was a lot of guests in issue number 2. I was looking on Comics Joint, the underground comics website that I always used. Unfortunately, the last few letters of the alphabet, they don't have any information on it. I haven't dug any further online, but he managed to get an interview with them. And it's really, really interesting just talking about this guy's journey to make these comics, who he worked with, some of the people that he worked with. One of them in particular ended up working at Marvel for a little bit and meeting a bunch of the Filipino artists. So he got to meet some of those guys. So just really top-notch stuff. Again, I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from Bougie. He's been around forever. When he digs, he really digs deep. So you get a good kind of, 6 pages of samples of art and an interview. Um, and then just kind of one-page articles as well too, you know, and just kind of thoughts on the comics that are currently going. But like I said, it's mostly focusing on kind of long forgotten comics out there and talking about their history. So I would highly recommend that you pick this up. It was $12. It was pretty steep, but again, this is a big, thick square bound. And if he keeps the same schedule as Cinema Sewer for the last number of issues for Cinema Sewer, he was just doing one a year. So he was taking a full year to create a book and then putting them out. I think it was like February-ish that they came out. Cthulhu Luke. So I sell online. So on Facebook here in Winnipeg, there's a Winnipeg Comic Addicts Facebook group. And it's just a bunch of us locally. There's always auctions going on there, or buy it now auctions, or people just selling bits and pieces here, graphic novels, single issues, that sort of thing. So I sell on there. I've done it quite a bit actually on that one. It's always fairly successful. I mean, for me selling books, it's always a little bit difficult. The amount of people that are on that group, or even when I go to the small comic convention, for the most part, they want more of the mainstream kind of stuff. And as you're well aware, I don't dig into the mainstream as deeply as some other people. So some of the stuff that I have for sale, sometimes they're a little too kind of indie or underground, or just kind of a little too odd that they're not really interested in them. So this auction was one of those. I had a boatload of stuff. I ended up doing pretty good, like, again, but everything I ended up selling was more of like the mainstream Marvel comics that I had up on auction. So the indie stuff didn't really go, and the small press stuff didn't really sell. So I've still got those. Some of the graphic novels that I put up sold as well too. Hello, for the love of comics. How are you? Gore Vidal, hello. Non-Winnipeg members. Oh, absolutely. Everybody's allowed in the group for sure. It's just when we do these auctions, we have every Saturday, there's a meetup. It's actually like a 2-minute drive from my house. Guar Vidal. It's about a 2-minute drive from my house. Every Saturday we meet in the parking lot, and we were doing it even through the pandemic. We'd gather outside, masked, cars really far apart, and we'd have a meetup every Saturday where during the week there was some auctions. Everybody would meet in the parking lot, and we'd just kind of exchange money and comics, and it was pretty good. There was parts of the pandemic, all of these things that came up during the time we were in lockdown were just to kind of keep you going, was really, really great. And the online stuff was pretty fantastic. So yeah, I've taken some photos in the past, and I've put them up on Twitter. I'm not crazy about taking videos of, because I've thought about that in the past, taking videos of some of the shops that are around here and stuff. I'm not super crazy or comfortable with kind of shoving a camera in people's faces and, all of that kind of stuff. But I'll try to take some photos next time we do a meetup. I didn't make it this weekend, but I'm going to try to make it down to it next weekend. And it's always a good time. So great group of guys. But suffice it to say, Gutter Hunter is what you want to get. Check out Robin Bougie on the interwebs. I don't know. Let's see if he says on the inside front cover. I think he had a store. I think he has a store, Envy. Well, here you go. Oh, look at that. First printing. 600 copies he only did of this one. So there you go. So there's his email address there. mindseye@hotmail.com. You can see if you can get yourself a copy if you're interested in this. But I'm telling you, man, this is quality stuff, especially for us comic nerds here. This is going to be really fun. I hope this carries on for quite a few years. I'm really curious to see what else he ends up digging up. So let's just start big before we get into the stuff that I read this week. One of the things I was looking for, and again, there's just some stores here in town where when I'm looking for certain books, I should know better and just go straight there. So I was looking for some Warlock 5 issues, single issues, so I could keep reading past the graphic novel that I have. And I went to cover, and of course, he had a stack of them. And I think they were like $1 or $2 a piece. So I ended up getting a chunk of them. And again, I don't know how many times I need to say it, but these covers are just phenomenal. Super fun book. So now I've got a really good chunk of books. So that's number 2. He didn't have I already have number 1 rather. There was another one that he was missing in this run. Number 3 there. And then a killer one, number 4. Like, look at this airbrushed kind of painted covers here. Really, they just stand out from a mile away. I can only imagine these on the shelves when they came out. Number 5 with another really great cover. Another one of my favorites. And number 8 with our punk rock chick again. Easily my favorite character so far. And number 9. So there was a few gaps, but it was really good to get a chunk. So these are from Aircell. And number 10, we'll see. I'll read kind of this chunk, even though I'm missing some issues, because at some point, apparently it does kind of really rapidly fall downhill. And then that's just my favorite cover again. So we'll show that again. It really rapidly just falls downhill, apparently, art-wise and everything. So I'll kind of dig into those and see how far, because I think it went 20 or 30 issues, something like that. Every once in a while, he'll have a couple of undergrounds in the bins. He didn't have much there today, but this is, or last time I was there, but this is one that I hadn't heard of before. Fire Sale, 35 cool cartoonists stage a hot benefit. Harlan Ellison does the intro. This is from 1990, so 1989, Ripoff Press. It's a benefit for Larry Todd, and a whole bunch of, there's your kind of murderer's row of artists and writers involved in this book. So I'm not sure the story. I'm not sure the history. I'm guessing that Larry Todd's house burnt down. And they were doing a benefit. So we get people like Mark Baudet, Spain Rodriguez, Justin Green, Dan O'Neill, Trina Robbins, S. Clay Wilson, Paul Mavrides, Jackson, Richard Corbin is in here, Pete Bagg is in here, William Stout, etc., 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 Michael T. Gilbert. So many people. So I haven't even flipped through this one. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. A real nice collection of kind of OG underground artists, and then some kind of 90s underground people like Pete Bagg. I'm not sure if it's all reprinted stuff or if it's stuff done specifically for this book. And again, it's another beefy issue, so plenty of reading. Yeah. So at least 48 pages here. 33, let's see. Yeah, 48 pages. And of course, we end off with Omaha and Cherry Pop-Tart. There we go. So I'm sure that'll be entertaining. I dug into when I went to 204 Comics. That's it. I'm fully on board now. I picked up a stack of Cull comics, including, got my hands on number 1 as well as the stack here. So I just read number 1. I read it as soon as I got home, kind of thing. That night I sat and read that sucker. And I feel like every single week I'm saying the same shit over and over again, but Cull is it, man. This is great. So just a few issues, 4 and 5 and 7. Number 8, apparently this one is a particularly good issue. I was looking when I was just kind of browsing on the internet of Howard's creations and what comic issues stood out. I saw like a top 10 list, and this one was in there. So I'm looking forward to reading some of this stuff. Yeah, lots of good Severin ones here. I saw the Criterion Wanda 1970 by Barbara Loden, including the extras. It's a remarkable movie. She was married to Elia Kazan. The only major film she wrote, acted, and directed. Died at 48. Get out of town. I'll have to look for that. So my son has asked for a Criterion subscription for Christmas. And of course, he'll be not watching this. So I feel like it's safe to say that we're going to get it for him for Christmas, and we'll get him that year subscription. I'm really looking forward to actually hanging out with him and watching stuff on the Criterion channel as well. So it's going to be pretty fun. I'll have to keep an eye out for that one. And then just issue number 12 here. Oh, Zesty Clam, how are you? You're saying Wanda is on YouTube? And then that's back to number 4. So that's great. I also dipped into some Red Sonja. Just a couple of issues. He had a few, but some of them were a little more beat up than normal. So that's great. And there's still at Galaxy Comics, there's still the Frank Thorne Red Sonja Artist Edition. Scott, I don't know if you have the Frank Thorne Red Sonja Artist Edition. I know that you said you had a number of them. I don't remember if it's one that you had, but every time I go to Galaxy, I eyeball that sucker. I'm pretty damn tempted because Frank Thorne is just a beast, or was just a beast. So those are kind of the things that I picked up that I haven't dipped into too much yet. Like I said, I won't spend time on these ones, but I did dig into both of these Cull issues. Number 1 was great. It was a really good setup of everything that I know already from reading the other issues, but it's good to kind of start from the beginning. He had the omnibus there as well. It's pretty pricey, and honestly, I'd rather get the issues. It's not an enormous run, and volume 2, like I said, is only those 2 issues. Volume 3 isn't an enormous run either, so I don't mind kind of waiting to get the single issues, especially since I'm cleaning out the bins. I've actually got quite a bit of room in this one here, so that'll be a good spot to put those in. I believe we talked about that. Yeah, we talked about all those ones. So something else that I managed to find, Secrets of Haunted House number 31, which is the first appearance of Mr. E. Introducing Mr. E, and I guess Mr. E ran for about 8 issues in Secrets of Haunted House. I've only got 3 of them right now, so I'm on the lookout to see if I can find the other ones for cheap. These were only a couple of bucks a piece as well, I think, at $2.04. A fun enough book. It's interesting reading some of the later Mr. E stuff, the little bit that I've read, how the character really turned. This one, he's pretty damn serious in this. He's pretty straight ahead, and almost like a phantom stranger type of host, but deadly serious in these, especially in this first issue. So I'm curious to see how it progresses through. Yeah, Wally Wood was in there. I'm not sure about Wrightson. I don't know that. I don't have enough of them to be able to tell you for sure. Let's have a look in this one right here. So it's the Severins in this. So Marie and John Severin. I think for the first bit, Zesty Clam, it was the Severins. In a few of these first issues. I don't know when their run kind of ended. Yeah. Severance again in there. Severance there as well. Issue number 8. I believe it's still the Severance. It sure as hell is. Severance there as well. Let's have a look at issue number 12 here with the return of Thulsa Doom. So this one, Mike Plug is the artist in this one. Steve Englehart, author, and Mike Plug, artist. So issue number 12. So it looks like they probably did at least the first 9 or 10 issues of Cull, the Severance there. Yeah, and then just the other 2, Mr. E, Secrets of Haunted House, that I do have. I've read this one. Yeah, it was this one, I think, that I read previously quite a while ago. But I'm going to try to get, like I said, try to get the next bunch of those so I can read all those issues. Actually might turn into a bit of a shorter video tonight. Seem to be flying through this stuff. The latest issue of Porcelain, still digging it. I'm still not sure where it's going, but I think I'm getting into the flow of it, and it really feels there's a lot of stuff going on here. I'm a sucker for these kind of old horror, old DC horror kind of homage covers. So I couldn't resist, again, especially when they're the same price as the regular issue. I think I'm falling into the groove of it for sure. This one had some really interesting, kind of very fluid transitions between some of the scenes here, as she kind of floats through the house and tries to escape. And she's kind of just being pursued and eventually trapped. So we get this really nice transition here where she's captured. It's very kind of art house movie type feeling. And then she gets kind of transported. And then we get a couple of pages that are just very stripped down. So we go from kind of all these black backgrounds to this white background. Oh, actually just those 2 pages before we go back to our main kind of story. So it's good. It's very arty. So here's the credits here. There, Zesty, who was asking? Cthulhu Hand Luke. There you go. So Maria Lovett. And yeah, so Maria Lovett is the writer and the artist. There you go. Really cool. And then the bonus on this one, which I didn't realize, it was on the shelf already and I didn't see it, but the latest Guillaume March, I guess, Laura, which apparently is earlier work, or some of the earliest work, when I was hanging out in the Friday chat there on Jared Osborne's channel. I kind of dug this. I'm curious to see where this goes. I liked that it sort of had a similar kind of ideas going that happened in Carmen as well too. There seems to be a little bit of similarities, but taken in a different direction. I'm kind of that idea kind of appeals to me. Having a body of work that sort of follows this same theme at the beginning and just kind of goes off in another direction. But the art is still pretty great in here. It's not as good for me. I don't enjoy it as much as I did in Carmen. But I'm very, very curious to pick this up. So I'm keeping my eyes out for this one. So that was a nice surprise to get that sampling there. Yeah, from the early 2000s, K. So yeah, really looking forward to that. So I mean, I think Porcelain has 1 or 2 more issues. I'm on board. I'm sticking around for the rest. The art is really, really gorgeous in that book. So we're so damn close. And still an absolute favorite. The Nice House on the Lake. We got issue number 6 that I grabbed this week. And again, this actually was the first book I read as soon as I got home from Galaxy. This was when I went to pick up my pull list from Galaxy. I was quite a few weeks behind, so I managed to pick everything up, clean out my my hold box there. I don't know how many weeks ago this came out, but I love this series. I love this issue. Every single issue, we're getting more nuggets. I'm still really invested in the characters. I'm still really interested in where the story is going to go. I still don't really have an idea. This one introduces us to a brand new character and kind of his history, or the last issue at the end introduced us to a new character. But this one we see his history and what his relationship is with everybody else. So I love that book. Really great stuff. Maybe we'll go here. I decided to give this King of Spies #1 a try by Mark Miller and Matteo Scalera. I love Scalera's art, and that was the big draw for me. I'm was looking forward to it. It just kind of had a good vibe to it. Some of the art that I saw looked pretty great. I don't know if I'm totally sold on the story itself. I'm not sure that I'll pick up issue #2. It's not that it was bad. It didn't kind of grab me as much as I was hoping, I think. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll give it another chance for one more issue. Yeah, basically a spy who's done some horrible shit throughout his career is kind of, he sees the end of his life coming, and wants to repent now and get revenge on all this shit that he did through his life, and realizing that he was kind of a piece of shit for his life. It's like, sure, I guess that's enough of a premise for a shoot 'em up action, because it feels like that's what it's going to be. Not that I'm against any of that stuff. It just didn't move me too much. It was fine, but I don't know. We'll see if I actually pick up #2. And then another one that I just have in my pull list that I picked. I decided to buy them. I was contemplating maybe passing on them because the first one didn't do too much for me. I picked up issue #3 and 4 of Red Sonja, Black, White, and Red. This one with a fantastic Jay Lee cover. Who seems to be popping up on a whole bunch of covers all of a sudden. I feel like I saw like 2 other covers from him at Galaxy when I was there. For the most part, I'm not too crazy about these, to be honest. I don't think that they're that interesting. I'm not really crazy about the short story format for this character. Again, I think I had the same problem with the Batman Black and White, and it's the same. Although the Batman Black and White seem to have more good than bad, this one seems to have more bad than good. So I kind of worked my way through issue #3, forced myself to finish it, and then started in on issue #4. I figured I may as well just get them both out of the way. And then I came upon this story by Philip Kennedy Johnson, artist Steve Beach, and then Hassan Otsmani Illahu, who did the lettering. Man, oh man, a really nice little story. Absolutely stunning art. I would be on board for a mini series, a 4, a 6, an 8, a 10 issue series with this Steve Beach on art. It is just amazing. Really, 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 really good stuff. So mostly black and white. And then, of course, when we see Red Sonja, that's when we start to see the red. And I love the way he draws Red Sonja. Look at the thighs on that woman. Unbelievable. That's sturdy, as we used to say. But incredible stuff. Really, really incredible art. I don't know anything about this Steve Beach, but it's a name that I'm going to be digging for sure to see what else he's done. I'd be curious to see if everything is kind of in this style. Beautiful, beautiful pages, and just grisly as all hell, really great as she just kind of lays waste to people. And then we get at the very end here, decapitated head with blood pouring on her. Really cool. Yeah, so fantastic art. And then the rest of it, just like I said, it just didn't really catch me. Going from that to stuff like this, there's just no comparison for me. I think you've really stacked the deck, not in your favor, just cramming him in the middle there, bookended by very, very plain, bland kind of art to my eyes, you know. So yeah, and of course, then we get our collection of all the covers and everything. So, I mean, I don't know how many issues there are. I have 4 of them so far. I think it's a 5 or a 6 issue series. I'll probably just stick with it since it's almost done. But yeah, I think my time of tapping into these kind of black, white, and something, black, white, and yellow, black, white, and gold, black, white, and red. I think my time with digging into this kind of stuff is done. I'm going to let this stuff fade away from me now. And that, my friends, is pretty much all that I read. Once this bougie comic came in, I just kind of, that took up a lot of my time. And then I taught a course this weekend, so I didn't have time to read at all Friday. We watched last night, my wife and I went out for dinner. Our daughter was sleeping over at grandma's house, so we went out for sushi, came back, and on Disney Plus, they've got a documentary that Questlove put together. Summer of Soul, I think it is Summer of Soul, about it was 6 weekends, a soul festival, a free one in Harlem on 125th Street. I think they had between 30 and 50,000 people in attendance every single weekend. Some incredible acts. It was filmed. The footage just kind of sat unused for about 50 years or whatever, and then got kind of uncovered, and Questlove managed to get together, get some of the artists who are still alive to interview, found some people who attended the concert so we could talk to them about what it was like. Does a really good snapshot of what the history was like in Harlem in 1969. It was going on, I think that first weekend was the exact same weekend that Woodstock was going on, and how this is a festival that they had the Black Panther Party as the security. Nina Simone gives an unfucking real performance. Really, really amazing stuff. Abby Lincoln and Max Roach, they have too short of a piece of them playing live, which looked phenomenal as well too. They sort of dip their toes a little bit into talking about like kind of like that free jazz, fire music, that sort of thing. I always wish whenever I see some reference to like the free jazz end of things, I'm always hopeful that they're going to dig in a little deeper, and they never do. It's always kind of like a footnote. Yeah, Cthulhu Hand Luke, seriously, the whole documentary, it's about 2 hours long. The whole documentary is incredible. The energy, they have all these gospel singers, they have all of this stuff. Reverend Jesse Jackson is there and does kind of a talk. And they kind of talk about just kind of what's going on in their communities. And again, it's this free event for the people in Harlem, and just the shots of the crowd are even worth it. Just seeing kind of just everyday average people just coming to enjoy some free music in the park. Really, really worth your time. Very, very impressive stuff. I'm glad that a guy like Questlove is around to kind of put all this stuff together. If you know Nardwar, the Human Serviette on YouTube, he has a really good series of interviews with Questlove. I think there's maybe 4 of them. All of those are worth watching because Nardwar is a huge kind of, him and his team, their research is just unbelievable where they dig in and who they talk to. And his interest in music history is really top level. So seeing him and Questlove talk about some stuff as they dig into music history is a really, really entertaining watch, because there's a couple of times that he blows Questlove's mind with, how the fuck did you find this? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So it's great. So one of the bonuses of having Disney Plus, I guess, getting some access to some pretty cool content. I think that's about it. Thanks very much, everybody. It was nice to see you all. Thanks for hanging out. And I hope that next weekend we're around for our chat on Sunday. That's the plan anyway. Yeah, I would say give it a try there for the love of comics. Give it a shot. I think it's going to be a 10 or 12 issue run, so we're getting close. Oh, Ragamuffin, you're just in time to sign off. Nice to see you, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks very much. Have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you next weekend.